Who appears for the first time? Narada. Not really for the first time, he appears right in the first canto, but Narada Muni talking about Shuddha. Right? In the very first chapter, when Yudhishthira Maharaj asks Narada Muni that is Krishna partial? Does he favor the Devas and is he envious of the Asuras? And in relation to that, the Narada Muni begins to relate to him the pastime of Narasimha, to talk about that Krishna, he's not partial to Asuras and Suras. Prahlad Maharaj was an Asura. He was born in the family of demons. But Krishna was partial to him. So, his so-called partiality is actually reciprocation. You cannot fault one for loving somebody that loves you. Right? You can fault the person for the opposite. That if somebody loves you and you neglect the person, then you can fault the person. But not if a person is reciprocating love with love and envy with some kind of envy. So the pastime of Prahlad Maharaj also demonstrates the second most important aspect of the Bhagavatam, which is Shuddha Bhakti. Now, in this verse, the mood that we see of Hiranyakashipu towards Prahlad is one of intense affection. Right? It starts off with Ekada. Ekada is one time, once upon a time. Asura Raj Putram. Asura Raj, right? So, the king of the Asuras. Putram, with his son, Ankamarupya. Right? Ankamarupya means on his lap, with lot of affection. He sets him. Then, Prapachakatayam Vatsa. So, Vatsa means, is a very affectionate term for your son. So, we see that strong affection in Hiranyakashipu. Manyate sadhu yad bhavan. Manyate sadhu, that sadhu. So, Srila Prabhupada translates it as, what do you think is the best of all subjects? So, sadhu means, sadhuvan is the noun, a person sadhu, that a person who embodies the qualities. Sadhu also means auspiciousness. This is sadhu. So sadhu yad bhavan. So the last word bhavan, it's used, it's a pronoun. It's like in English they say you for everybody. If the person is elder to you, you still say what are you doing. If the person is younger to you, you will say what are you doing. In Sanskrit it is more nuanced. Like in Hindi also, like they will say aap if somebody is older than you. And they will say tum if the person is a peer, or they will say tu if the person is younger or more intimate. So bhavan in Sanskrit is you with a lot of respect. Now why would Hiranyakashipu address his 5-year-old son as bhavan, as with so much of respect? Right? So Prabhupada gives two understandings of it. One, he gives in the word to word. Right? In the word to word, he translates bhavan as your good self. Right? So this is the father, the one who is feared by Indra, talking to his son, saying bhavan. Like this is the mood that a disciple will use to talk to a spiritual master. Your good self. To some extent, it reflects his affection for his child. And sometimes parents, out of intense affection to the child, they will say, kya kar rahe, what are you doing? And so this is the humor of affection. This is also the Saraswat. So it's said that sometimes, like in the 10th canto, when Shishupal is insulting Krishna, like he insults him 100 times, and he calls him a lot of bad things. And Acharya Krishna Chakravarti, they also use the Sanskrit to translate it as glorification of Krishna. And when he says to Krishna that you are immoral, translate the Sanskrit differently, that you are beyond morality. So it translates it differently. So Bhavan is also an acknowledgement of the position of Prahlad. Because essentially speaking, there are two exalted devotees sitting over there. Who is Hiranyakashipu? Jai. Right? He's an eternal associate of Lord Vishnu, pure devotee. And Prahlad Maharaj is another pure devotee. So in very subtle ways, that affection and love is coming through. Prabhupada also translates Bhavan as your respected teachers. Then what did your teachers teach you? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada comments based on his own experience about why did Hiranyakashipu ask Prahlad Maharaj this question, and why is Prahlad Maharaj qualified to answer this question? He says he is qualified to answer this question because he is a devotee. And one who knows Krishna knows everything. And he quotes the Chatushloki, the last of the Chatushloki, Deshanevan Kumpartha, Aumagya Jantuma. Why does the devotee know everything? Because the devotee is in contact with Krishna. And Prabhupada would use the example of you put an iron rod in fire, after some time the iron rod becomes like fire. When the devotee is in contact with Krishna, he begins to acquire the qualities of Krishna. And one of the qualities of Krishna is that he is Sarvagya. He knows everything about everything. So the devotees begin to reflect that quality. And then as testimony, Srila Prabhupada, he shares from his own personal experience. And he says, I have debated with scientists and religious leaders, and because I have the mercy of Krishna, and this is Prabhupada's humility, that he's saying it's not that I'm brilliant or I am, and he was all that, but he's not accepting that. He's saying because I have the mercy of Krishna, I was able to be victorious. So I was reflecting a little bit on Prabhupada's debates. And in Nyaya, in logic, there are three categories of debates. And there is Vad, there is Jalpa, and there is Vitanta. So Vad is debates that are meant for illumination, where both the parties are discussing with the desire to know more. So it says debates produce either light or heat. Light is illumination and heat is anger. So Vad is producing an abundance of light. So for example, Prabhupada's debates with his disciples, they were like Vad. What's that book that Prabhupada did? Beyond Illusion and Doubt. Right? There was a book that Prabhupada wrote, which was essentially debates with the disciples on different religions. And he did not himself know much about all the religions, so he would ask them, then you tell me. And then based on that, he would then comment on that. Right? And that got recorded into this. There is another book also that Prabhupada was once in Mayapur, and then there was a person who was volunteering in the Greenpeace Corps close by, and then he heard that there is an Indian guru, so he came and he would ask questions. The person name was Bob Cohen. And he came and he would ask questions, and Prabhupada liked the conversation, that he would then call him back, get him back the next day. And those questions and answers were recorded in a book called Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. And eventually that person took initiation, Brahmatirtha Prabhu, right? He became a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So that's in the category of Vad, where the debates are illuminating, enlightening, everybody benefits from it. The second category of debate is Jalpa. So in Jalpa, the focus is on proving one's point. That one tries where the other person had the same motive. Right? Once Prabhupada was in LA, and there was a group of these professors from they were teaching like religion. So they came and they sat down, and Prabhupada asked them that what do you think is the essence of all philosophy? And they kind of talked amongst one another. They said, we don't know. And Prabhupada said, it's to find Krishna. And it was so masterfully done because they already said we don't know. So they accepted the answer that Prabhupada gave. Right? And Prabhupada had this unique ability that people, even if they're lost, they walked away happy. And he would never make it personal or insulting, right? Sometimes he did, but not. Like once he was in Mayapur, and there was this person who came who was like a professor in different scriptures, Vedas. And Prabhupada asked the question that, what is the essence of all the scriptures? And I said, well, there are so many scriptures, they talk about so many things. The person said, yeah, but what is the essence? So I don't really know. So there was a small Gurukuli boy over there, and Prabhupada said, come here. So the boy was playing, he came, and he said, what is the essence of all the scriptures? The boy said, to know Krishna, and he went away. And then Prabhupada turned towards the person and said, see, even a small boy knows the essence of the scriptures. So this is the category of Japa, where Prabhupada was more, he wanted to establish the point that he was making. Once, this is Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, and he had gotten an academician, and Prabhupada asked him a simple question, that where do all the philosophies converge? And the person said, I don't really know. Then he turned to Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, and he said, what do you call people who claim to know everything but don't know? And Bhakti Swarup, at that time he was a brahmachari, and he said, we call them cheaters, Prabhupada. I said, okay. So then there was the third category, which is the Vitanda, that Prabhupada generally avoided. So Vitanda is debates where the only purpose is to defeat the other person. It's not even to, the person doesn't even have a point to make. It's just to say the other person is wrong. Right? And Prabhupada he would rarely engage in those kind of debates. He would kind of sidestep them. Like sometimes people would stand up and say, you're a guru, so you know everything. So, and then they would ask some question that how many living entities are there in this world, or some trivial question. And Prabhupada would typically answer by saying, how will that help you at the time of death? Knowing that there are 20 trillion jivas, or knowing that there are so many molecules in the universe, how will you know that? How will that help you at the time of death? Right? So you would typically sidestep those kinds of debates. So this is actually the pastime of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad Maharaj. There are two important lessons that are there, and Srila Prabhupada reveals the first lesson right away, that one has to know. Prahlad Maharaj was able to hold his own position against his enormously powerful father because he knew. So, when we know something, then we know what to do. So it is said that by knowledge, we know what to do. By association, we know how to do it. And by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we are able to do it. So all these three go hand in hand. Sometimes, and this is happening more now than earlier on, people will say, Prabhu, I just like to sing and dance. books are too much for me. And anyway, the essence of everything is chant and be happy. Right? That is the essence. But where will we get that conviction that this is the essence of everything? Prabhupada presented it because he had already gone through this process of learning from his guru, from his peers, from his father. Yeah. So if you are fortunate enough that you develop that conviction, naturally then yes. But for the most of us, the process of developing that conviction is by the systematic studying of Srila Prabhupada's books. Not reading them, studying them. That will give us the conviction of what needs to be done and what should not be done. And then we associate with devotees, then we understand how to do it. Right? We can understand that we have to chant the holy name, then we associate with devotees and we understand how best to chant the holy name with full concentration, without offenses. And then when we get the mercy of Guru and Krishna, we are actually able to chant the holy name. So that is one lesson. The second lesson that comes later on in this pastime is the Tattelu Kampam Sumekshuma, right? The verse from Lord Brahma's prayers that Prahlad Maharaj, he faced constant adversities, but he never once blamed Krishna. And he never once doubted the presence of Krishna. All that he wanted was to continue with his meditation on Krishna. Right? So that's the spoiler alert. That's one that comes later on. So I'll pause over here and see if there is any discussion.
You mentioned earlier that these two pastimes were the longest discussion. And I was remembering how it says Lord Chaitanya, he would often, when he would discuss this pastime and Dhruva Maharaj. Somehow or another, he liked those two pastimes, and often would discuss them.
He did.
All the time.
He will sit at the Tota Gopinath temple. He will sit in front of the Tota Gopinath deity and he will discuss this pastimes over.
Really? I didn't know that. I just remember that piece, I need to read more. I keep reading certain things, but I was just, as you were talking, I was thinking, man, I need to read the Bhagavatam because it's been a long time. I mean, I picked certain things I want to read. I should just do the whole thing to catch it,
And every time we read, we get some new insights, some new realizations.
For sure. I've been Bhagavad Gita for like 54 years and still every time you read it, what? You think you read it once, you get, no, it's not like that, because this verse says, Krishna's in the heart. And he's revealing himself more and more and more, anyways. Are you giving out? Got something?
There's something in the chat, I guess that's how, let me see. Okay, I think it's there are no questions, it's just the verse and the reports.
I remember when this Bhagavatam came out. I joined in 1974, I think maybe second canto was out about that time. So like every month you would get the next book. Because they were coming, at that time they were printed in like part 1, part 2, part 3. And Prabhupada, they would print about maybe 10,000 at a time. I guess they get a big prize or whatever, and we would distribute them. So the big semi would pull up, you heard, you take them out first, and then you get your copy, right? And you get that bread, God, discussions of planets, high planets, lower
The whole
planets.
cosmology.
So everybody was intrigued by that.
Yeah.
Wanted to see that.
Yeah.
And you know, it can only answer so many questions, because when you read, you get more confused even. When you describe it, right? You go, what? It's not some, there's a mountain, everything's going around, like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. They try to reconcile it with what.
The Agile, of course.
Mm.
But this one was probably the most anticipated.
Mm.
Because Prabhupada, he would be lecturing on these things. You also, but you don't have the book.
Mm. Mm.
So, he, of course, he gave so many lectures on this subject.
Mm.
So you pretty much knew the essence of it, but now you got the, so when that one came out, I mean, you couldn't sleep at night. Now, when's the truck coming? When's the truck? But then it's broken into parts also, so you don't get the complete thing.
I know. There are so many things we take for granted now. You can, anytime you want, you can get Prabhupada's books on your phone or your laptop.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Earlier on, devotees would anticipate getting a copy was.
But then now they printed one solid. I think there's a couple they split in half, but most of them are just one volume now. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 like that.
Yeah.
I think they did it like that too because of the cost.
Okay.
To do a solid one, you know, that's a lot of money, and they were trying to get them out. So I think I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
Rameshwar, I'm gonna ask him that when I see he's in Mayapur now. He was the BBT man at that time.
Okay.
And his health's not good. He's just waiting to leave his body, but he doesn't look like that. But so he'll speak sometimes over classes, and you can ask him so many questions, and nice to hear these little whys of things that are, and being with Prabhupada right there, you know, especially with the publishing.
Where did you join?
Huh?
Where did you join?
I got back here.
Where did you join? Where did you join?
I joined in Chicago in 1974. It was in Evanston at that time.
Okay.
At the current temple. It was in Hawaii. Then we moved to one street after Prabhupada passed away.
Okay.
The building was just too old, and even the sewages from the city was coming up. So I don't know why. Maybe they could have. They moved to one street. Then there was another set of problems. So yeah, that kirtan like this because of neighbors. No place to park.
I see.
You know. So, anyways, but yeah, I guess this is gonna be.
So you must have been really young when you joined.
I was 18.
There's another devotee, who's the devotee who joined in Chicago? The one who was the temple president before Chicago came?
Oh, the one who, Shashtivar.
Shashtivar.
Shasti, yeah.
He also joined from Chicago.
Yeah, many.
But later on.
I think he joined Soros, but he was a devotee there. But I don't think he
No, he said he joined. He was sharing once that Devi Shakti Mataji was. She had this big bag of books on her, and she's like very small and petite, and he just felt sorry for her. This he said this small frail woman carrying these big books. He said, okay, I'll take a book from her. And that and that changed his life. And he was also Prabhupada disciple. I don't remember which year he joined. Maybe later, 76 or something, I think.
She made a lot of the sannyasis that are now. She made them devotees.
Okay.
She said like that. She said, I would go to the Port Authority station in New York. My goal was to make brahmacharis. Because she was very young and a little attractive, so she'd get them and cultivate them.
Wow.
Some interesting stories like Chandramali Maharaj.
I see.
She was constantly going to his house, and at one point even, so she's a little pushy. So she gave him most of the books, and then, kind of took his wallet out to pay for them, just took all the money. And he became so upset, he told the police.
I see. Really?
The police said, give him his money back. So anyway, nobody knows the boys went to join New York.
Oh, okay.
But as a result, he joined me Vrindavan because he felt so embarrassed that he. She's telling the story. She said, many years later, I didn't know what's going on. I see this Saint Yancy in Vrindavan. And it's him. And she said, I can't believe you didn't tell me all this time you were joining the movement. But he was so embarrassed. He didn't see her again until he was in St. Yancy.
So then Shakti Mataji is in Vrindavan.
It's in Vrindavan.
She's in Vrindavan.
Yeah,
Tulsi
she's-
Kund, right? She's taking care of Tulsi Kund.
She does a bookstore.
She does bookstore.
She's
Vrinda
like
Kund is
stage-
another devotee. Vrinda Kund is another one,
Oh.
yeah.
Stage 3 cancer right now, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's trying to debate whether she'll do something or not about it.
I see.
So everybody's about to leave their bodies.
Krishna.
You know the story, David Rita Maharaj, huh?
Yeah.
How
No, I don't.
David Rita Maharaj, he was in Princeton, no, Yale.
Princeton.
Yale, he was Yale, I think.
No, Princeton.
He was
Princeton,
Princeton.
David Rita Maharaj, okay, Princeton. So he was reading back the Godheads, but he didn't like the devotees. He's like, I just want the books. So they advertised in there, some Bhagavatam was being, and he didn't want to wait. So he knew she was selling books in that port. He went to the Port Authority. He said, I want this Bhagavatam. She says, why do you want this Bhagavatam? You know, I want to know about God. She says, you're not qualified to know. You have to, and she started telling you, you have to surrender, you have to do all these things. And she convinced them to the point to give like, a huge donation. At that time, it was like $2,000.
Wow.
And he says, well, I don't have any money with me. He says, where's your money? He says, at my parents' home. They lived in Manhattan. He said, well, let's go. So then she goes to the house. He says, you have to wait outside. You can't come up.
I see.
And he comes down with the money. And he says, is that all you have? And he goes down to bring some more. So later on, after he gave that money, he thought,
He got the book.
what did he do with my money? So he goes to the temple.
Mm.
And eventually he surrendered.
Wow.
So quite a few of these big devotees, he made them all. She just,
Wow. I had no idea.
yeah, she's very powerful. She told me like this, says, I didn't go to sell books, I went to make brahmacharis.
We met her a few times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she said, I feel that brahmachari ashram up. She get them all, you know.
She's not well now, I guess. Okay, so we'll end over here. Thank you so much.
Ah,
Shri Prabhupada ki
Yeah.
jai.